Hello everyone, I am the Bearded Red Viking, and this is a review for Barbarian Hermit's new album, Mean Sugar. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. Today, as mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be reviewing this Barbarian Hermit's brand new album, Mean Sugar, which came out last Friday on APF Records. This is a Manchester band, if you don't know of them already. I have been friends with Mike Regan, the guitarist, for around about 20 years. I've known Cy, the vocalist, for probably not much less time than that, though I don't know him quite as well as I know Mike. Same with Gaz on drums. I've known him for years as well, but again, probably not quite as familiar with him, don't know him as well as I know Mike. So full disclosure, I am friends with the band and I know them all pretty well. So I hope you don't think that actually makes my review biased in any way. I'm trying to be as objective about this as possible. But yeah, having been friends with Mike for as long as I have, and being a big fan of his previous band, Bison Hammer, I've followed this band since before the project even had a name, or even really existed. I still remember the day he introduced me to the epic doom band Kong, and informed me of his intention to form a band that was sonically similar. Now, anyone who's ever listened to both of those bands will be well aware that this isn't quite what ended up happening. Babs, as they're affectionately known to friends and fans, have proven themselves through their previous releases, in particular the completely insane video for early anthem Burn the Fire, as well as countless energetic live shows, to be the absolute masters of what I like to call Northern Party Sludge. Mean Sugar, this baby right here, and right here, I also have it on CD, is a product of the band's hard work over those years, through all of those gigs, and is also the result of changes in the band's personnel. Their first demo, 1, contains some of their heaviest and definitely their most raw material, yet it still positively oozes personality and a real sense of humour. A lineup change that left only 2 of the original band members in place prior to recording their debut album, Solitude and Savagery, meant that this particular release had a different feel. It's probably more close to traditional doom than either one or the subject of this review. Lead singer Cy, as well as drummer Loz, who is also a good friend of mine, and the original bassist Chris, all left for various reasons within a fairly short space of time. Now, Cy's vocals are very distinctive. Chris has one of the most savage bass tones I have ever heard, and while I'm not well enough versed in drumming techniques to make too much comment on the nuances a change in drummer brings, obviously that makes a big difference as well. Now, replacements Ed on vocals, Gaz on drums and Bobby on bass all stepped up ably, and although it's a very good album in its own right, I personally felt that the flux resulting from those changes seemed to leave the band trying to find themselves again, and that resulted in a debut album lacking a bit of that distinctive character I mentioned before. In particular, while Ed is a genuinely fantastic vocalist and an absolutely lovely guy, someone else I've known for a very long time, I always felt that Cy's vocals were a really key part of what makes Barbarian Hermit Barbarian Hermit, and his voice suits the band's sound better, in my personal opinion. Now, I'm pleased to say that having a good few years to adjust, and with the return of Cy on vocals during the hellscape of a year that was 2020, that personality is back with a bang on this album. Having known Mike for so long, I'd recognise his riffs and sense of groove pretty much anywhere, and while they were still present and correct on Solitude and Savagery, both are all over Mean Sugar. The guitar work of both Mike and Adam really stands out. This record is absolutely chock full of riffs. but there's also layers of intricate melody interwoven with and overlapping the crunch pretty much throughout. Sigh's gruff yet rich, booming and downright soulful croon brings texture to proceedings as well as a healthy sense of humour, most notably on the closing refrain of the song Who Put 50p in You. The bass rumbles along nicely, adding a warmth alongside and beneath the guitars, blending well with the pounding of Gaz's drum kit. The playing on this opus overall is exemplary. Lead singles Stitched Up and the title track Mean Sugar give a good idea of what to expect from the record, but there's also plenty of surprises to be found along the way as well. On top of the obvious instrumentation that you might expect from a doom or sludge record, this album also features a choir performing backing vocals over a particularly funky beat on Heal the Tyrant. There are gentle, tender vocal harmonies on Who Put 50p in You, Battle of Compromat and Stranger Than Fiction, and even a theremin on the brief ambient instrumental interlude Out Come the Boasts. With plenty of clever experimentation throughout, there's a liberal use of various guitar effects and pedals, including a particularly heavy use of a polyphonic octave pedal, most prominently on the seriously weighty Deadbolt. Now, on first listen, I thought an organ was in use during the early bars of Kick Up the Dust, but on chatting with Mike, he informed me it was all guitar. That same octave pedal was used combined with copious amounts of reverb to create that sound. And perhaps most surprisingly of all, there are moments throughout with a real pop sensibility. This thing is catchy. Lyrically, tackling subjects such as the bittersweetness of northern life, suddenly finding yourself dealing with the rigours of manhood, as well as the insomnia both of those things can bring, Psy does so with intelligence, wit and an abstract sense of poetry. According to the album's title track, where he knocks about, they don't listen to blabber. There's no blabber to be heard here. Only a concise collection of monstrously heavy, thoroughly memorable and meticulously crafted songs with a militant groove and a truly unique charm. Considering I've been following this band since the very start, I don't say this lightly. Mean Sugar is unquestionably their finest hour. Not just as the culmination so far of the band's near decade of existence, but also serving as evidence of their evolution during that time. This, for me, is a real contender for Album of the Year, and not simply because of my personal affiliation with them. As I say, I tried to listen to this as objectively as I possibly can. Now, yes, obviously there's a potential for a bit of bias to have crept in there, but for me, I think this is an absolutely outstanding release. This album needs to be heard. Make sure you listen to this. Listen to it as soon as possible and listen to it a lot. Then tell all of your friends to do exactly the same. They will surely thank you for it. The standout tracks, I can't honestly name one. All of those, basically. I genuinely can't pick a standout track. They are all absolutely fantastic. This is absolutely exceptional. I give this 5 Mjolnirs out of 5. The album can be picked up from the band's Bandcamp and also from APF Records website. I will leave a link to both down below. Please make sure you do check it out, at least give it a listen on Bandcamp if you can do. And if you like what you hear, I highly suggest you pick a copy up. Now, as well as reviewing the album, I just quickly wanted to talk about the launch party, which was held on Saturday night at Rebellion in Manchester. Absolutely fantastic venue, and it was a great lineup of bands. There was Shred Dibner, which is one of the best band names I've ever heard in my life. There was Bodak, there was Under, and then of course there was Barbarian Hermit. Shred Dibner, despite the absolutely excellent name, I've got to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed in. Musically, they were great. There was a real heavy bass tone there. The bassist was playing a Rickenbacker bass. You know what you're getting when you see a dude with a Rickenbacker bass in a metal band. There was so much fuzz and heaviness. The main problem for me, I've got to be honest, was the vocals. Now, I don't want to be harsh, but for me personally, I just didn't feel like the vocals fit the music very well at all. But I can't say I didn't enjoy the set. It was good fun, and it was a good opening to the night. But then the next band up, Bodak, stepped things up at a level. They were, how do you put it, noisy. Noisy is the way to describe them. They were absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed this set. It was short but sweet, and it was really heavy, really loud. There was a constant backing track, like with a droning of a sitar or something along those lines in the background, which you'd think might get a bit annoying, but for me, it actually made it. It really sort of set a bit of an ambience and a bit of a tone and a bit of an atmosphere behind the music, and they were excellent. And then there was Under, Stockport's finest. This trio pack a punch. They're very loud again, but there's a lot of technicality to their music. There's a lot of tempo changes, a little bit offbeat, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyable set. Barbarian Hermit were absolutely fantastic. They played this beauty in full, and they also threw in a couple of their older pieces, including the single I mentioned before, Burn the Fire. You will find clips of all of these bands in the video, which I'll be posting alongside this, which is going to be the video of the actual launch party itself. And make sure you check out Barbarian Hermit. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you watching me. Thank you for all your subscriptions. My subscriber count has reached over 300 recently, and I'm very pleased with that. Thank you very much to all of my new subscribers, to all of my old subscribers. If you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and I'd love to hear your comments. Well, read your comments down below. Thanks very much. Take care. Beardy Red Viking out.